What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Ramblin Radio, episode number 84. It's good to be here. Thanks for clicking on the episode. And if you're not on the YouTube channel, get the hell subscribed to the channel and come join me. I want to see your face. I want to see you in the comments. I want to say hi to you. I want to talk to you. I want to say hello and see how you're doing. Just come join us on the YouTube channel. It's not that difficult. Hang with me. I'm here by myself and my lonesome. If you've noticed or haven't noticed, I'm wearing the same shit as the last episode because we're batching content. And I love to batch content. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I do. And when I do batch content, my podcast editor gets really happy. And when I don't, he hates me. Because sometimes I create through inspiration. And when inspiration strikes, it strikes. And sometimes we occasionally have a fast turnaround time, and I want to get it out. And he does that for me, and I love him for it. So thank you. Thank you, Jonah, for helping me so much. Anyways, we're batching content. If there's one thing that I can say in this episode or this intro, I guess, is try to separate days that you do specific tasks, right? If you're still doing everything by yourself, you definitely want to do this. If you're a video person, try to schedule your editing days on specific days. Try to schedule your CEO days, your business days, maybe pitching days, or reach out, whatever those kind of revenue generating activities. Try to schedule those for specific days. Try to separate it out because we're wearing multiple hats, especially if you have, like myself, I wear two hats. I wear personal brand hat and I wear CEO hat. Personal brand, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, hey, hello, this is me as a personal brand. Behind the scenes, I'm CEO. What am I doing that's generating revenue here versus somewhere else? Where do I need to cut back on certain expenses so I can increase my cash flow and increase my profit margins? All these kind of analytical business type shit, that's my CEO hat. And so I'm going back and forth, and I try to kind of separate those into the individual days of the week. And so if you're wearing those two hats, sometimes you're not. Sometimes there's just a CEO of a company like Adidas. What's the face of Adidas? They use athletes to reflect their brand, right? You got a guy like Nick Bear. He's personal brand. He's the face of BPN, and then you have BPN. So he has to wear that personal brand hat, and he has to wear the CEO hat, right? Those are two different people, and they can be one or they can be separate. So maybe I'll make a podcast episode about that, talk about that a little bit more. But for me, when I can batch content, I love it because it helps me so much, helps the people that help me so much, and makes things easy. So that's why I'm wearing the same shit. Anyways, before we dive into the episode, we got a great episode today. Tomorrow is the start of the 3-day workshop of mine that I got going on. And if you're not in this thing yet, you're shooting yourself in the foot. I'm telling you right now. We're going to be going over so much good stuff to really put ourselves in that CEO role, that creative business owner role, and to eliminate the freelancer, the dead-end freelancer that's doing everything themselves. If you want to do this for a long period of time, you want to be in business for a long period of time, not just tomorrow, but a long period of time, and actually truly build something that impacts people and gets freedom back into your life, impacts your own life, right? Because why do we, I talk about this before every episode, why do we start our creative business in the first place? Because we don't want to work for somebody else and we want more freedom. What ends up happening? We end up not working for somebody else, which is great. Awesome. Good job. We're doing it. And number two, no freedom, even less freedom than what we had before. And then the argument is like, well, I do what I love. That doesn't feel like work. Yeah. Working 12, 14-hour days. Good luck keeping up with that and loving that for the rest of your life. My point is there's going to come a breaking point, right? We need to do something. We need to build something that doesn't involve us all the time. And what does that look like? What are those ingredients? What are the decisions that we have to make to get there? What do we need to focus on versus the things that don't really matter, that don't really move the needle, and yet we continue to do because we're scared, right? And other things too. But if you're not a part of that workshop, we got some amazing prizes going on too. We got my Creator's Blueprint 12-week $2,000 coaching program with me. I'm giving away a full ride scholarship. Never done a scholarship before, and we're doing it. And it's just a way to continue making an impact. That's what it's all about. So that's prize numero uno. Prize numero dos is an Apple iPad. And the third prize is my must-read business book bundle that's going to up-level you and up-level your business. So if you're not a part of that, sign up, register, click the link in the description, or go to www.zachkravitzcoach.com/attract-sell-scale 2021. Let's do the damn thing. So get in it. We start tomorrow. So stop fucking around. All right. I got notes for this episode. That's how serious I'm taking this one. I don't know if I mentioned what we're going to be talking about. The title probably will do that. But let's talk how to build a brand, how to build a business with a small social media following, which is basically what I've done. I have built a multiple six-figure business with a relatively low or small size audience. How the hell do you do something like that? And just to give you some insight here, I talked about it on a other podcast, talked about it on my Instagram. There's two sides of the spectrum. We have people that have over 1 million followers on Instagram that are broke. We have people that have millions of followers and aren't making any money or have to rely on shitty brand deals and fear that those could dry up. What if I don't get engagement anymore? What if I stop getting followers? What if I, whatever, right? And I know this, and I'm not trying to rub people the wrong way here. There are people that come to me that have turned into one-on-one clients that have hundreds of thousands of followers, and they're not necessarily struggling, but they are in a position that they don't like. They are in a hamster wheel of their own, and they're either relying on shitty brand deals that don't really pay them what they should be paid for videos and content and things like that. Or number two, they haven't been able to tap in and actually leverage the audience that they've built. And sometimes you have people that literally have built this big following, and it's just not a community. It's not an engaged community. And that's part of the equation that we're going to be talking about today. So there's that side of the spectrum. All right. So hopefully if you have 1,000 followers, you've got 2,000 followers, I hope that makes you feel better. Don't feel bad because you have a small following. It's nothing to be ashamed of. You also have people with 2,000 followers where you go to their profile and they're like, you look at it and you could be like, oh, this person has got nothing. He doesn't know, or she doesn't know what she's doing, right? And yet behind the scenes, they've got a 8-figure business that are just crushing, and you don't even know it. You don't even know these people, right? So what's happening here? Why do we have these two massive sides of the spectrum? So let's talk about tangible things and solutions. And it's so fun for me. Like when somebody comes to me that has already an engaged audience or a following, and they're like, I don't know what to do. Like I create content for a living, but I don't really have anything that's truly mine except for my content. I get so excited because of just the unlimited possibilities, and the ceiling is just so high that you can't even, it's just the potential out there is just massive. To give you an example, Matt Diavella, he has officially created a brand, Slow Growth, which is a online course education platform. I'm not trying to, put a plug in or anything, but he's a great example of finally having a personal brand, but not really having anything that's truly his. And the Patreon thing, I don't like Patreon. I'm not a Patreon kind of guy. It's more of just a support thing. I say forget Patreon and build a service that actually helps people, and not asking for support for your art and your content. I think that's cool, but do something better than that. Do it even better. Actually provide a service for people. Not to hate on Patreon, but there's so much more potential. You're going to give people a better experience, and you're also going to make more money, produce more revenue, and give yourself more freedom. Matt DeVell is a great example of that. And so to start, what really made a huge switch for me is to stop focusing on just numbers and stop focusing on just follower growth, and instead focusing on traffic to the areas that I want traffic, right? To make this all work, we need traffic, then we need leads, and we need customers, okay? We need traffic, we need leads, and we need customers to build a successful online business. There's nothing in this equation that says we need followers, right? Traffic, we need people looking at something that we offer. Leads, people that could turn from traffic into somebody that is actually interested in what service and product that we have going on. And then finally, the customer that purchases, right? So very simple. TLC, right? TLC, tender loving care. Traffic, leads, customers, right? So when I started to learn this stuff, I'm like, okay, so traffic, leads, customers. I've got a following, but I don't have incoming traffic, and I'm not offering anything, and so I don't really have leads for these people to turn into customers. I don't have anything going on here, and so we need to start with the end in mind. What do we have? What are we offering? What's our product or service? And then go from there, right? So if you have a product or service and yet you're creating content that has nothing to do with that product or service, are you really doing yourself a favor here? Or are you just creating content just to try to go viral to get more people to follow you? Virality, it really doesn't mean jack shit unless it has to do with the stuff that you're talking about. So let me just give you an example here of why numbers don't necessarily mean anything. And I'm going to kind of, unveil the curtain a little bit, and let's look under the hood of what I got going on. So the very first time I put out a free opt-in to start building an email list, right, was when I put out free LUTs and presets. All right. I put out free LUTs and presets, and it blew up. Everybody wants LUTs and presets. They sell very easily, and that's why so many people make them, because they make a quick buck. It's easy, and it's evergreen. It's constantly running. It's very, very simple, right? And people want them. It's a very easy solution to somebody's frustrating problem of color grading, right? So I put out these free LUTs and presets, and the video did very well. Put it out on my YouTube channel. And then my buddy, Logan Armstrong, shout out to Logan, he put it out. He featured my LUTs and presets, and his video did better than my video. It got more views, but I didn't give a fuck. He was posting about my LUTs and presets, and he put the link in his description. And again, I didn't care because I wasn't so focused on building a following anymore. I made the switch of trying to build a business. I want traffic. I don't necessarily want just tons of followers here. Traffic, leads, customers, right? So I'm building my list, and I'm feeling all good, and got it going on, and et cetera. And then Daniel Schiffer, you guys know Daniel Schiffer. I'm sure a lot of people did or do. He blew the fuck up. Congratulations to him. And he posted about my LUTs and put it out there. And so it just kind of, it took off, right? And I built up my email list to like over 60,000 people. So I go from 0 to 60,000 in a very, very short amount of time. And I'm feeling good. And I'm like, oh man, I'm going to build $1 million business and I got it going on. And I'm on top of the world, right? This also goes to show how there's seasons to this. And we've talked about this before. There's very high seasons and there's very, very low seasons. And, you're on a bit of a roller coaster. So I'm feeling pretty good about myself. I've got these 60,000 people. And what's also interesting, and it was kind of concerning, is when you start investing into email marketing services and platforms, and I use a platform called Kajabi. I highly recommend it. I can throw it in the show notes in the description. I think I talked about it on the last episode too. Highly recommend it. It's the best, does everything you need for in my opinion, very affordable considering all the stuff that it does. When you combine it all together, it adds up to a lot more than what they are selling it for. And so I use Kajabi, but here's the thing, and anybody that's in email marketing or sells digital products as an email list, etc., when you start building up your email list, it starts to cost more per month. So, a lot of basic plans. I think Kajabi's basic plan is like $150 a month. And that comes with like 10,000 contacts or something like that. So here's me who is just starting to build a digital product or an online business through my personal brand. And I get 60,000 contacts. I'm not making any money yet, but here I am with all these contacts, these people that are a part of my universe now. And yet I'm not producing any revenue. And so I had to go in and talk to the people. I wasn't even on Kajabi at this point in time. I was on another platform, and they were very nice and kind of let me come up with a more affordable plan, because I think it would have, this other platform that I was on, it would have cost me like $500 a month for like that many contacts or something. And I was like $500 a month. Like that's like more than my car and car insurance and, all these different things. Like I don't want to pay for that right now. I'm not making any money. And so they were easy with me and we came up with something that made sense. But what happened was, long story short, these are all people that just wanted free shit. They didn't really care about what I had going on. And so it wasn't a good lead. And I talk about this because, yeah, great. I've got all these people. It's like building a following. But if they're not going to buy your shit, they're not going to be a part of your universe. They're not going to be a customer. Well, then who cares, right? You're not going, at the end of the day, not everyone's going to like you, number one. And number two, you're not going to impact everybody. You're just not. There's too many personalities. There's too many people with different experiences. If you listen to my podcast, you listen to it because there's something that I do that you just like. You connect with me, I connect with you, et cetera, et cetera. Just like there's people that don't listen to this podcast, but they listen to someone else's podcast, and they get what they need from that person, and maybe not me, because for some reason I just don't. It's just we don't connect. Whatever. Maybe I'm too bald. Whatever. Right. And so I had these 60,000 people, and I was, I'd hear things like, "Oh man, even if you have an email list of 1,000 people, you can still do, over 6 figures or multiple 6 figures." I'm like, fuck, I'm going to make $1 million. Let's go. And, I put out my first product and it did okay. I made over $11,000 for my first product launch, but I had almost 60,000 people on my email list, and I would hear, oh, this person has 40,000 and they're doing $500,000 launches. Why did I just do only 11,000? And so I started to get a little bit crushed after, I would do a launch and then another launch and another launch. And I would compare myself to people with a certain amount of email subscribers. And yet I wasn't doing what they were doing. Why? Why is that? And that's because those weren't good leads. These were people I was selling something that those people did not want to buy, and they just wanted free shit. They wanted the quick and easy route, right? That's why a lot of people are starting to step away from just doing these, free opt-ins and things. They want people to put a little bit more skin in the game, because as soon as somebody puts skin in the game, that person becomes a much warmer lead, because if they're willing to put down their credit card, that means they're willing to put down their credit card for something in the future, for something that's more money, et cetera, et cetera. And so those are more high quality leads that are going to have a better chance of turning into customers for yourself. All right, so I tell you that story, and I want to unveil the curtain and look under the hood a little bit of my early days to show you that the numbers don't mean shit if they're not going to be a customer, right? So getting back to thinking with the end in mind, we need to have a product or service. We need to understand this thing that we're building, and then we need to reverse engineer from there and figure out what our messaging, the way I communicate, everything that I do through this podcast, through my Instagram stuff is very, very intentional, right? I do it specifically to impact you in a way, to spread a message and talk about certain things in a way to get you to start thinking differently and realizing, hey, I need to do this. And Zach obviously he knows what he's talking about when it comes to this. Let's see what else he's got going on. And there's a curiosity behind it, right? There's a hype, there's a curiosity, and then also having a sense of thought leadership and knowing what the fuck you're talking about, being an expert for this specific thing that I'm helping you solve. And for me, that's going from this freelancer kind of, let's just get more clients and more money is going to solve my problem, to actually building a creative business and designing a lifestyle that you want to live, whether it's working 60 hours or working 20 hours. And how do we make that possible? Because it is possible, right? So I'm helping creatives create a business that they absolutely love, that they're able to design a life for themselves, right? So all of my content is going to relate to that and talk about that and give you new perspectives to think about. So that's me reverse engineering my service and then going backwards, okay? And that's going to help with turning my followers into leads and then into customers. And then I attract people. I create, not only do I have organic traffic through my content, but also paid traffic as well. And so if you don't have a big audience, you can pay for your traffic. And so you got Facebook ads, you've got Google ads, you've got affiliates, people that share stuff for you, and they make a commission off of it. These are all different ways of getting traffic. And one way is not the end all be all versus the other, because every single type of every single way to gain more traffic, people have been successful at. So somebody purely just runs Facebook ads to get their traffic to produce the amount of revenue that they need to continue to grow, et cetera, et cetera. Some people specifically just do affiliate launches, and some people have been able to just grow organically. And there's not one way, right way, wrong way, et cetera. It's what way works for you. To make this all kind of short and sweet and kind of wrap things up, and we're going to be talking a lot more about this in our workshop. And so to wrap this up in a pretty bow here, the number one thing you need to think about is stop building followers, build a business, traffic, leads, and customers. And number two is to take your products and service and reverse engineer it. Think with the end in mind, reverse engineer your product and service, and think, what types of content should I be creating to attract the people that are most likely to purchase this product or service. And so whenever I create a piece of content, I'm always thinking about just one person that I'm trying to serve. This one dream client or customer that's inside of the Creator's Blueprint. Who is that person? And me creating this piece of content, I'm thinking about that person right now. I'm thinking about their struggles. I'm thinking about what's going through their mind. I'm thinking about those decisions that they have to make day in and day out. I'm trying to get inside their head so I can speak to them and so that they know that I understand what they're going through. So how can you do that with your own stuff? So get away from just the numbers and get to these people that need your help, whether it's with a product that you have or a service, and dial in the way you communicate for those people to feel like they're being supported, like this person understands me. That's the end all be all right there. So I hope that helps a little bit, gets you to think a little bit differently. And again, you have those two people. You've got people with millions of followers that are broken. You've got people with 1,000 to 2,000 followers that have eight-figure business. They're doing like $10 million a year in revenue. Like, what the hell is that? You should just think about that and be like, oh, okay. Like, I'm okay with my 2,000 followers. Like, stop making it about the number. Stop putting your self-worth in a number or even revenue. You got to be careful of that, because I've done that too, where I'm not making as much money as I was yesterday. You know, sometimes it fluctuates and whatnot. Oh, I'm less of a person because I'm not making as much money. Or Johnny Boy over there is making more money than me, so he's better than me. All right, you got to be careful of that one too. We can come up with more podcast episodes about that shit. But anyways, get inside this workshop, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, hope you guys have a kick-ass Monday, kick-ass week. And those that signed up for the workshop, I will see you guys tomorrow. Can't wait. See you soon. Peace.